Right. Hello, everyone. Good night. Hope you're having a good night. A couple people popping on here already. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Jamie, if possible, can you throw a thumbs up or something in the chat if you can hear us okay?
Can you hear me right now?
Yep. We got you.
Okay. Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to figure out how to get my image showing. Okay. I'm going to mute myself again.
Perfect. We just wanted to make sure we were clear. So that's all we needed. Thank you. We got Dave. Hey, Dave. Right. We'll give this until about 7:03. That way people have a couple minutes to pop in. So if you know anything about me, I'm usually about 3 to 5 minutes late. That's what happens when you're a parent. So we'll give everyone just a little grace here. There, we can see you, Jamie.
Just clicking away.
Hopefully everyone's having a good week. It's not as cold as last week. Thank you, Lord. A couple more people joining, which is awesome. I think I set it up right. So people join, it won't ding. So even if people pop in late, totally okay. And they can just jump on in. But with that, it's 7:03. I want to be respectful of everyone's time because we're all parents, or the most of us. And even if our kids are older, we still want to make sure that everyone utilizes their time as well as they can. So getting on with this. So I'm going to turn it right over to Mike.
Hey everyone, first of all, I just want to thank you for joining us this evening. Obviously, we're going to be talking a lot about caucus and conventions as they are just around the corner. So very important to have some knowledge on that, especially before they happen. So you get there, you show up, you know what you're doing, you feel comfortable in the space. As well as this event is brought to you by the United Parenting Coalition. So I'm going to talk briefly about that before I turn it over to Jenna to talk a little bit more about caucuses and convention. So I'm just getting my screen up here.
Give me 1 second. We're using his computer, not sure. There you go. Why is this part? Okay. There we go. Jamie, can you see those slides okay? You're muted.
What do you say that again? Can I see the flags?
Can you see slides okay?
I can see I'm good. Yeah.
Perfect. Just making sure.
Thank you. All right. So first I want to talk a little bit about the United Parenting Coalition before we get into caucus and conventions. One thing I think we can all agree on is that over the last, say a decent amount of time, parenting has really taken a downturn. And that is one big thing with the United Parenting Coalition. Our goal is to level up parenting and to take a more proactive approach. So kind of jumping in here, the best way to predict your child's future is to create it, said by a very wise man, Abraham Lincoln. And it's very true. You are the one that's sculpting your child's future and making the decisions that are ultimately going to decide what that future does look like. So parents have struggled since the beginning of time, whether it be work-life balance, discipline, dealing with, your multiple children, a sibling rivalry, and all of that was difficult enough. And then let's throw in the challenges of today's time with screen time and social media, all these things that are flying at us from the media, from other parents, other groups. You look at, I know the big one for me, gender and identity. Father of 2 girls, I was there at birth. I know they're both girls. There is no question about that. So to me, that one is just mind-boggling that that's something that we are even dealing with in today's time. But again, all very challenging, a lot of different things that we're struggling with as parents.
You hear singing, it's because we are parents and we have a little one watching Frozen, so she might just add her accompaniment a little bit. So parents right now, with how fast times are going, they're struggling even more, as you just said, right? So we have all these new struggles, but then you add on, as fast as the world is going, it's making it harder, because as soon as parents are like, okay, I think I can wrap my head around that new struggle, it changes tomorrow. And it might even change twice in a day, it seems like. So as soon as parents are like, okay, this is difficult, but I can do this. Oh, just kidding. Because everything just got flipped on its head yet again. And in a variety of spaces, whether it be, in education or within the kids' healthcare or politics, everything is changing so rapidly. And parents, all we're trying to do, it seems like, is get a decent grasp on, hey, I just want to get my kids through life, raise them to be decent humans. We just want to make sure that we feel confident and empowered so that we can, in essence, pass that down to our kids.
So with that, what are parents researching? These are the top 5 most researched topics as of last year. You can see there's a lot of different things, a lot of variety there, but all very important and definitely things that factor into your child's future when you're getting information on these topics. And with all that researching, where are we getting information? You look at times in the past, a lot of the times it was before internet, you'd get books, other parents. Maybe there was some parenting classes you'd attend. Now with the internet, everything's out there. Where is this information coming from? You have all these social media groups, all the internet sites. Just what's driving this information? Is this being pushed by some organization? Is this being pushed by big pharma? Something that has some monetary value behind it. They're pushing their agenda for a reason, and usually it's money motivated. So how solid is this information? How factual is it? Can you actually rely on this information? And that is where the United Parenting Coalition come in. Purpose of the United Parenting Coalition is to level up parents with knowledge, resources, and the tools they need to confidently lead their families and advocate for their beliefs. We as UPC are a 501c3, which means we are getting all of our money from donations from people like you. people that share similar beliefs. This is not being pushed by anyone, backed by big pharma, by any of the media, anything like that. We are getting and making relationships with people that share similar beliefs and becoming allies with them so that we can provide accurate information to help parents feel empowered about the decisions they're making for their families. And introducing our founders, that'd be me and my better looking partner here. The biggest thing, I mean, we're guided by faith and looking at how can we help other families and provide information and help them gather that information to make these choices.
When we decided to launch this, it was exactly like Mike was saying. I was out there, he was out there. He is the king of research, but my mom heart was getting me out there to do research too, trying to figure out what was going to be best for our kids, because we have 2 kids with a 13-year gap. So we're trying to research. It seems like 2 different worlds at a time because there's such a large space between them. And I was completely overwhelmed. He was completely overwhelmed because it was always the question of, okay, well, who put out this information? Is this solid information? Can I trust this information? And we just wanted to create a system for other parents once we found our footing a little bit, which we're still failing on the daily basis, just like every other parent out there. But once we found solid resources, we wanted to make sure, hey, let's essentially create a hub of all of these resources that are solid and trusted. And we know that there's no crazy backing behind them, pushing them. So other parents can have this, and we can essentially make the job a little bit easier for other parents who are maybe even just a quarter step behind where we are.
So our focus are these topics over here on the right-hand side. I can kind of, like I've said before, I mean, these are all big factors in what we are looking to gain information on and provide knowledge for parents. This is most of the information that we're looking to gather. There is some a la carte items that we are looking at, you know, whether it be just things to support, whether it's, you know, clothing, food and beverage. Some of the other ones were the
just miscellaneous resources, right? But these areas, these 7 areas are 99% of the information that UPC offers to parents. If a parent has a question like, I need some information about healthcare or education, UPC has it because we have a specific channel essentially dedicated to that area.
Again, our beliefs here, definitely highlighted by faith at the top. Faith is going to be the cornerstone of our beliefs, and it trickles down into each one of these other beliefs as to where our standing is in that particular agenda.
As UPC, we really just wanted to make sure that parents could stay aligned with their values and their beliefs as they are raising their kids. Because in today's society, which is very secular, and at points, okay, but for the majority of the time, parents feel like, I want to make sure I can raise my kids with solid values and solid morals. And it feels like that's not always possible. And we wanted to make sure that we are offering resources that do that. They are honoring faith. They are honoring solid education. They protect public safety, focusing on smaller and better government, economic prosperity, pro-life, Constitution principles. It's why our country was here in the first place. Equality, and then just really making sure that every resource we offer honors parental rights first.
So our vision as UPC, first and foremost, our website is already up and running. That'll be the central hub where you can find information on all these topics. We are working on kind of making it better, making it more searchable, making it a little bit more user-friendly than it currently is. But there's a lot of great information already on the website. Future state, big things we want to do along with the website is actually creating some seminars, some parenting workshops, some chats on the website too, just so you can feel like you have that community of you know, other parents and families that are, you know, maybe struggling with the same topics. that you are, and maybe have some ideas of their own that they would be willing to share, and so that you feel like you do have that community. Another thing is doing an annual convention, which we are in the beginning stages of planning our first one at the end of this year. And that'll just be where you can get to meet all of these people. The allies on our website, belly to belly, face to face. Come grab some coffee, grab some donuts, whatever the case may be. Bring your family. Grab paperwork. See these people, feel it.
Essentially like an expo. A lot of communities do them, but this will be an expo for parents. You walk in and all of those resources, or fingers crossed, right? Many of those resources that are on our website are going to be there in person. So not only, okay, I saw them on the website, cool. I looked at their website, great. No, a lot of times now you can shake a hand, you can grab a pamphlet. And I don't know about you, but there's something when you're connecting with other people as a parent, you're like, okay, I actually trust them. I looked them in the eye and they told me what they're going to offer my kids or what resource is going to be best for my kids. Just having that physical one-to-one, belly-to-belly contact.
The political aspect of that one.
And then when it comes to government, a lot of people, myself included, which I'll get into in a couple minutes here, government politics, it's scary, it's gross, but it's important. One of my favorite quotes lately is, people saying, well, I don't like to do politics. Well, guess what? Politics is going to do you, because it happens all around us on the daily basis, and it impacts every single person's life, our kids included. And we want to make sure that even if it's not your favorite thing, we are educating parents, and we're breaking it down to a level that every single person can understand it. And they will now have the knowledge to be empowered of, okay, I have the info. What do I do with it? Tonight's seminar is going to be a great one exactly about that. We're going to teach you the basics of Minnesota politics, caucuses and conventions. So a lot more things leading into that, especially, session for 2024 for Minnesota is around the corner. And we're going to make sure that UPC is educating parents on how is it going to truly impact you.
And great verse here, start children off on the way that they should go. And even when they are old, they will not turn from it. Again, this is just coming back to taking all this information, creating a plan for your kids based on your beliefs, your values, and ensuring that they continue to move that same way even after they're away from you.
That's the goal. Fingers crossed, right, parents?
And so, as we stated, we are a 501c3, which means we run off of donations
and volunteers.
So if anything hit home for you and you want to contribute in some way, whether that is with your time or monetary, whatever you would feel comfortable doing, we would love to have the support. If you want to go ahead and send us an email, visit our website, you can scan the QR code there. And just any bit helps, whether it is time or money. We will definitely take. Everyone has their own talents, and everything is helpful.
Absolutely. With that, we're going to jump into the fun stuff here. So as Mike closes down this presentation and he jumps into the next one, I think I can see the chat. Are you able to pop that chat button? There we go. Perfect. All right. So in the chat if you want, or you can pop yourself off of mute if you'd like, whatever you're more comfortable with. When you think of the word politics in under 3 words or less, what do you think? Give everyone a second. I know it's not always easy to type in the chat. I always skip this part in Zoom, so I won't even lie. Corrupted. Yeah. 1000%. That's what I always used to say. Like I said earlier, gross. But that was my mindset for a really long time. Why would I ever do politics? That's my dad's job. not in our best interest. Absolutely. Evil. Agreed. A lot of people feel that way. All right, Mike, if you want to pop up my presentation. If you're still adding ideas in there, please go for it. But those words, right? Evil, corrupted, not in our best interest, gross, all about money. Yet, here we all are on a, what even day is it of the week? Thursday evening, spending some time together on a Zoom saying, okay, I think I need to learn a little bit more about politics, right? Because our kids matter. As I said a few minutes ago, you can say all you want. I don't want to do politics. Well, politics will do you. And let's learn then how to get involved and do politics. Launching into parent-powered politics, because parents, we need to be there. Jump to the next one for me. This quote, so the true hope for humanity lies in the future that we make for our children, not the one being made for us. If we leave our kids to the future that's being created for us, my friends, that is a scary, scary deal. We need to utilize our voices in whatever way we can to make sure that we are setting our kids up for a future that has opportunity and hope. So tonight we are going to be covering three main bases. We're going to explore the caucus because it's right around the corner. It's literally just over a month away at this point. We're going to talk a little bit about what delegates are and what the role of a delegate in the system here in Minnesota is. And finally, we are going to talk about conventions, because convention season for politics is kicking off and it lasts for roughly half the year. And we need to know, what's it all about? What do I do? So Minnesota is a caucus state. Only about 1/5 of the United States are caucus states. So what a caucus is it's a community meeting where neighbors of a specific political party are getting together to focus on their business, endorsing candidates, selecting their delegates and their alternates for their conventions, and setting their goals and their values for whatever party they are aligned with. So the caucus this year, write this down, save this date if you don't already have it. Tuesday, February 27th at 7 o'clock. It's always a Tuesday at 7 o'clock. How that date is selected. So the two major party chairs, so the Republican chair and the Democrat chair, right now it's Ken Martin and David Hann, get together. They land on the date together, basically kind of compromise, figure out, hey, what's going to be the best on the calendar for a caucus this next year. Caucus happens every other year in the even years at 7 o'clock always. And where, okay, it's going to depend on a couple things. So first, let's just get into some of the specifics here with caucus itself. In order to get involved, in order to say, I'm going to caucus and I'm going to do my thing there. Sorry. You must be eligible to vote in the next general election. So for this one, if you want to go next month, you must be 18 and an eligible voter for the presidential happening in November. Okay. And you must live in the precinct or the community that you're going to attend caucus in. Best way to find your caucus. So say you're brand new to this and you're like, Jenna, I have no idea. I don't have a clue where I would go. As a Minnesota resident, you would go to caucusfinder.com and starting February 7th, so a couple weeks out still, but starting February 7th, they will have the locations of the caucuses on there. The locations will depend on what party you're going to go caucus with. So whether you go with the Democrats, the Republicans, one of the marijuana parties, it just depends on which one and what community, what precinct you live in, okay? Often, caucus is going to be held at a school or a church because it's a large space and typically either A, free, or B, cost effective for the party to pay for. So whatever caucus you're going to go to, ideally, fingers crossed, right? You are lining up ideas wise with the party you're going to. So if you are sitting there and you're like, I am a hardcore Republican, you wouldn't want to go to the Democrat caucus. So again, jot that date down, Tuesday, February 27th, 7 o'clock, that website, caucusfinder.com. So in about 2 weeks from today, they will have all the information of where do I even go, okay? All right, so, all right, I know where it is. I know when it is. What do I do there? Most of these caucuses are going to follow the same general agenda, or they should. Typically, the doors open for registration and getting in and all that fun stuff. Half an hour to an hour early, depending on the area. For example, like our area, the doors are going to open in full hour before. So the doors will open at 6 o'clock for people to start coming in and getting checked in. So you have some time, right? You're going to be sitting around, whether it be in a church or in a cafeteria of a school or a space of some sort like that, with all these people that are your neighbors, essentially. And you somewhat all agree on some ideas because you all walked into the same caucus. So my tip to you is put down your phone because it's 2024. And I don't know about you, but I love to sit on my phone in spaces like the waiting rooms and stuff like that because it's just easy and then you don't have to chit chat. Well, maybe chit chat, be friendly, connect with these people that are in your community and think like you. So you'll have some time to meet with your neighbors, have some chit chat, and at 7 o'clock, things kick off. Depending on the area, how big it is, things of that sort. Most often what's going to happen is they're going to divide you out. So you're all in one big space. And then a little before 7, they're going to say, okay, we're almost at 7 o'clock. Let's break out by tiny little neighborhood, or it's called your precincts. Okay. So now you're walking into this classroom or this space in the church and you're meeting with a smaller group of individuals. And these people are like the people down the street. Literally, they're very close in proximity to you and your house. Your neighbors that think like you. At 7 o'clock, things start. And I do this because that's the hope, right? The goal is you start on time and you go as efficiently and quickly as possible because it's a Tuesday. People want to get on with their lives, but we still have business to take care of. Throughout the evening, candidates could be poking their head in. It's sporadic. It depends on the year what candidates. But say, for example, this year, you're probably going to have some House of Representative candidates poking their head in and saying, hello, I'm so-and-so. I'm running for House in the community here, and I just wanted to introduce myself. A couple years back, when we had bigger elections, we had all 4 of the state offices up for re-election. There were more candidates traveling around, and when they have bigger spaces like that and they have to hit multiple caucuses, they are driving around, finding these caucuses, walking in, introducing themselves, and heading to the next one. So just know that the evening's events could pause temporarily while a candidate says hello, meet and greets, and walks out the door.
They might even have representatives for themselves come in and speak on their behalf too, correct?
Yeah, amen. We did have a few of those last time as well because we did have state candidates running. So all of a sudden, obviously, these state candidates can't make all of the caucuses because all the caucuses are happening from northern Minnesota to southern Minnesota all at the same time. So they're not, magic. They can't hit one room all at the same moment. So they have reps going out and speaking for them also. Good call. Order of business. All right, 7 o'clock, the candidate quickly said hello, and now it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty here. There is somebody in charge in the room, a convener who's helping out, kind of run the show. I'm going to caveat this with saying, let's say you walk in and they're saying, there's really no one to help out. There's no one that wants to step up and run things. It's easy. They hand you a script. And I say that because I was brand new to politics at caucus 2 years ago. We both were, and we got handed the script And we're like, okay, let's do this together. And we fumbled through it together, but we did it. And it wasn't hard because it was literally on pieces of paper and it told us exactly what to say and exactly what to do. So it wasn't that difficult. First order of business that you're all going to do in that room within your precinct, your small little area. So for example, you're from Stillwater or you're from Cottage Grove. You're not just sitting with all the Cottage Grove people. It's literally people from like your little community, your little portion of Cottage Grove, your little portion of Stillwater. You sit there and you're now going to decide, okay, we need to vote on what's called a chair of our precinct. The main point of contact for our little area. The goal being this chair is going to be in charge of our area if we ever need to get involved in the political party in some way, shape, or form. So for example, let's say your House candidate comes to said chair and says, hey, I would love to get some yard signs out in your precinct. Can you help me with that as the chair of your precinct? It's not a difficult task to chair, okay? It's yard signs, maybe seeing if anyone in your precinct wants to join in a parade, something like that. And I will be transparent because I am more involved in the political world and I've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff. Not all chairs are active. They don't always help out. The goal is we do want the chair to be active. So please always keep that in the back of your mind, but know that if there's absolutely no one else, I can still do this. That's a big thing. Everybody can do these tasks. The next piece is, can you slide that over so I can see my notes? Sorry. There we go. Thank you. The next piece is delegate elections. We're going to get more into the definition of what a delegate is, what they do in just a couple slides here. But just know that, okay, a delegate, somebody who kind of speaks up for everybody, they're going to run for their position. And then the final piece is resolutions. Every party in this state has what we call a platform, or the beliefs and the values that they hold strong to as a party. It's what makes them as a party. Ideally, you know, you're not going to go walk into a party that you've read through their platform and you're like, I don't agree with any of it, right? You're going to walk into the one that you read their platform and you're like, I'm on board with all or the majority of that. But that being said, there's always room for growth and room for improvement, room for change, especially like I said in the last presentation, right? Times are changing and they're changing fast. So sometimes our platforms need to change and adapt with the times. So what we do then at caucus is we talk about resolutions or potential changes to our political party's platform. This is not, my friends, legislation change. As I said, Mike and I helped convene or run our caucus room last time, so 2 years ago, and a lot of people were bringing up legislation change. Great. We would love for everybody to think on, okay, how can the laws change? How can we make the world better? This is not the point to do that. That's something you're going to bring to your House candidate or your Senate candidates, things of that sort. Resolutions are, I think our party platform needs just a slight improvement. How can we do that? You bring that. Typically, you want to have it typed up. You want to have it prepared because you're going to be reading it out loud to the room and telling them this is how our party platform could improve. All right, as promised, what the heck is a delegate and an alternate? So definition, delegates are representatives chosen by their community to be the voice of their preferences at higher level party conventions or get-togethers where that opinion needs to be known, whether it be for a candidate or party business. So a delegate is somebody who, okay, not only do I want to go to caucus, I want my voice heard beyond just today. I want to have my voice heard in what candidates I think would be best, and I want them to be endorsed. I have ideas on how we could change our party constitution, or I have ideas on how we need to, I think we need to change our inner party leadership. That is a delegate's job. So if you are somebody that's like, caucus is great, that's where it ends for me, okay. So you'll have a duty on February 27th, and then it kind of ends after that moment until caucus of the next time. But if you're somebody who's like, my voice isn't done yet, don't mute me, I still want to keep going, you would run for one of the delegate spots when that portion of the caucus evening comes up. Some areas, depending on how many people are in your area that believe like you, do need to essentially, there's an election for the delegate spots. Other areas, like say, for example, I'm just gonna, an area up in the range, up in northern Minnesota, that's more red. If you go to a Democrat caucus up there and you run for a delegate spot, you might not even need to run because there might not be a ton of Democrats in that room. And they might just be like, by default, you become one because there's not enough here. Okay. If you're in an area that is more contentious and there's more of you that I need to run for my slot, it's typically a 30 to a 60 second speech. And my advice always is speak from the heart. Why are you here? Why do you feel your voice needs to be heard? Because typically that's going to be powerful, because again, you wouldn't be giving up your time for nerdy stuff like that if it wasn't coming from your heart. So speak your heart, let other people know why, and more than likely you will get voted in as a delegate or an alternate. An alternate is just someone, well, hey, this many delegates couldn't make it, we need to call in some of the alternates. A lot of times alternates get sat and they get brought to the conventions because a lot of delegates don't show up. It just happens that way. So next one. A little bit more about what are their jobs? What do these people, these delegates and these alternates really do? Because there's some responsibilities with that role. Number one, if you run to be a delegate, understand it's a 2-year commitment. So it goes from caucus to caucus. So for example, him and I both became delegates last time at convention. We still technically are delegates until February 27th of this year. You will be invited to conventions. Your invites will depend on how many times you run to be a delegate. I'll explain that in just a second, one more slide. But just know that, okay, I'm going to be a delegate. That means I have more events I have to go to. It's not just caucus now. I have some conventions, some really fun events to go to. And then again, right, like I said, those invites will depend on how far you ran. You may need to campaign again. So you don't just have to potentially do that one speech. You might have to do a couple to keep going as a delegate. And then if you are a delegate or a seated alternate, you will vote. You will vote on things from endorsing candidates to run against the other parties. You will vote on things like resolutions to your party's platform. You will vote on things like constitution changes to your party's constitution. You are doing the business of your party. And that means your voice, your vote is important and valid. Next one. All right, the slide's a lot. I'm going to break it down because conventions are the business of your party, whatever party you're going to partake in. This is the nuts and bolts that keep it going. If you attended caucus and you said, I want to be a delegate, and everyone in your precinct said, write them down, they are a delegate, you are going to receive an invite to your BPOU convention. Your BPOU stands for your basic political operational unit. And this is your party club in your area. So for example, my husband and I were from the Woodbury area. We have a Woodbury BPOU for the party that we engage in. Okay. So BPOUs could be broken down by House district, Senate districts, counties. It depends on where you live, but just know that's like your smallest unit of your political organization, your political club. So if you get an invite to that because you're a delegate and you want to head there, you can expect that invite to happen between March and April. Your how the business works, because you're going to be invited to 2. You're going to be invited to one this year, and keep it in the back of your mind, because you will also be invited to a convention again in the following year. Because again, remember, 2-year commitment. So you're going to attend one this year and next year. The reason for that being, a lot of times in this year, the caucus year, the business you are doing is the business that the world will see. So for example, if you are, I'm going to the conventions for the Democrat Party, the business you are doing is going to be seen by the Republicans and by the marijuana parties, because a lot of times it's the stuff that's out there. Candidates, your platform, things of that sort. And then on the odd year, it's the inter-party business. So at the BPOU level, what you're doing is you're going to endorse Senate/House candidates, depending on the year. This year, we don't have a Senate race. There's no, Senate is not up. Their seats are safe for another 2 years. But we do have a House race. So you will be endorsing candidates for the House of Representatives here in Minnesota at your BPOU conventions. You also will be looking at those resolutions again. So resolutions that made it through caucus, people agreed, that's a good idea. We should change the platform like that. I like that. And they pushed it on. You're now going to be refocusing on those changes as a BPOU. Is this good? Should we kind of push this up to the next level to really make this become part of our party platform? And again, like I said, 2-year commitment. So the next year would be the fun party business stuff. So you're going to be working on your BPOU constitution. You're going to look at things like the officers, the leadership within your BPOU, and you're going to be electing people to do essentially the state party business for your state central committee. If you go to the BPOU convention and you're like, I'm done, it's okay. You can end there. That could be your last invite. Or you can say, I'm a total nerd, like me, and I really liked this political stuff, and I want to keep going and making sure my voice is continued to be heard. We then will have another election for delegates and alternates. So think again, another 30-second, 60-second speech, and speak from the heart. Why do you want to go on? Why do you want to go to the next level? If you are somebody that's voted in as a delegate or an alternate, you now will receive invites to both your congressional district and your state level convention. Those two go hand in hand. You don't have to run for both separately, or hand in hand. Congressional district, again, is the whole, okay, on the even year here, a lot of times it's more the stuff the outside world will see. And then the following year is, okay, what's the inner party business that we need to take care of? So that is where in this year, this is true. We do have US Congress endorsements up. So we will be endorsing candidates to run for Congress. Again, those resolutions come up. So any that now have made it through caucus and they've made it through your BPOU convention, you're looking at potential changes for your party platform here at the congressional level. And then the following year again is where that inner party business happens. You're looking at constitutions, you're looking at your leadership for within the congressional district. And those invites will be for towards the end of April / early May window. If you are somebody that's like, this is awesome, I really want to keep going, I want to go all the way to the top, you can run for one of the delegate spots or alternate spots for national convention, because this year we do have presidential elections up. So we will have national conventions where those endorsements happen. So you can run for one of those spots at your congressional convention. And remember, these go hand in hand. So now if you complete that congressional district convention, you're going to get another invite. And now you're going to your state convention. This year, those will be happening in May. Depending on what party you are attending, right, will determine the exact dates. But they typically send you a call / an invite. It'll have all the information of how to register, where to go, what time, all that fun stuff. At state conventions, that is where you're taking care of business like endorsements for your state leadership. So governor, auditor, secretary of state, attorney general. We do not have those elections this year because they all have another 2 years on their terms. But this year we do have US Senate. So Amy Klobuchar's seat is up this year. So there will be some endorsements for Senate on all sides. Again, you're looking at resolutions. This is kind of at that last stop, right? So now they've gone from caucus to BPOU to congressional, and now they're at the state. Are these things we really want in our platform? And then you're also going to look at state constitution and pieces like that. There is going to be another opportunity if you did not get to be a national delegate at your state convention. You can say, hey, I really want to do this. I'm running again. There's another opportunity to do that. I will caveat this. Some of these conventions do cost money. Some of them cost a lot of money. So please know that if you are a person that's like, I'm going to conventions, cool. There's a fee, typically. Anywhere from $25 to $50, $75, $100. I've heard numbers towards the $5,000 range for national delegate spots this year. So just know it's not a free thing. A lot of times you're paying some dollars to make sure your voice is heard.
And possibly traveling, especially once you get outside of the congressional.
Valid, absolutely. We were nerds and we went to the state level last time and we wound up Rochester. We headed down to Rochester. So you are now paying for travel, you're paying for lodging, you're paying for your convention entrance. So just know a lot of times the dollars add up. But it's just, you need to weigh it out. Is this really important for me to have my voice be heard? Is it worth the expense? That final convention is the national convention. Those don't obviously happen all of the time. This year is a big deal. We have presidential elections coming our way. So just know that's going to be the big hurrah this summer for the parties. All right, we can go to the next one. And I do apologize. We see a chat popped up and I'll look at it in just a second. We can't open all those multiple screens at one moment. All right, these are my 5 tips that I feel are really important with sharing with anyone who said, I want to do this. I want to get involved in whether it be caucus or caucus and conventions. These are the 5 tips that we've learned over the last couple of years, helped us a lot. So first and foremost, whatever party you're going to go caucus with and you've decided to get engaged with, check out their party platform. Reason being, number one, those resolutions, right? And they're going to be talked about a lot, as we saw here tonight. You need to know your party platform, or at least kind of, so that, okay, yeah, I agree with that. Or wait a minute, we don't need that. That's already in there. You know, have a decent understanding of your party platform. You can usually find it right on the website for whatever party you're aligned with. The next piece is you want to look at your party constitution and bylaws. How Minnesota works, because grassroots, that's what we focus on, right? So BPOUs, that's kind of the boots on the ground. And then you move up. I recommend at least knowing your party's platform or party's constitution and bylaws. But every level has them. So you have whatever party, right? So if you are a Republican, the Minnesota Republican Party has their constitution and their bylaws. But then so does the Congressional District that you belong to. They have their own. And then so does your BPOU. They all have it. So it's important to at least, I would say, check out the state one. And then the more you get involved, continue to kind of dive deeper. But check out that state one for sure first. So you have a decent understanding of the party, how things are run, how things break down, things of that sort. The third piece, how political meetings go, conventions, things of that sort. We run them on Robert's Rule of Order. If you've ever watched, if you've never attended a meeting that's run this way, you probably have at least seen it in a movie. This is where people talk like, you know, I have a motion, or I second that motion. I vote to table that. I have a friendly amendment. I motion to adjourn, things of that sort. So all of a sudden, all this business is going on and you're like, I have no idea what's going on. That's how we were the first round. We had no idea. We didn't, even if we wanted to say something, we felt like, I don't even know how to say it the right way. Number one, just try. There were a couple of times I think we spoke up that were just like, I'm going to say this the wrong way. Somebody will correct me, but at least I got it out there, right? But if you have a decent understanding of Robert's Rule of Order, you'll feel a lot more empowered and equipped than 95% of the other people sitting there. And my best tip for you is spend 10 minutes in YouTube. Quickly type into YouTube, Robert's Rule of Order. Some general tutorials will pop up. Watch through it, and you're going to be equipped better than, like I said, 95% of the people sitting there. My next tip is having a decent understanding of candidates. Twofold. Their roles. So let's say you have a candidate running for a specific position. Know what that does. Know what their typical job duties are. Why I say this is because sometimes newer candidates get involved and they're like, I'm so jazzed, I'm getting into this, and I'm so excited, and I'm going to try to do X, Y, Z. If you have a decent understanding, you might be able to say, I love your excitement, but actually the why you just talked about, you can't even do. That's not in your role. That's at this level, or this person would actually do this. So you want to have a decent understanding so that you don't select a candidate that's like all jazzed to do some stuff and they can't do it. Also know what their platforms are as a candidate. What do they believe? What are they shooting for? What are their goals? Obviously, you want to select a candidate that you're like, heck yes. Because a lot of times with endorsements and even within the inter-party leadership, their ideas are a little bit different than yours. And you want to select whatever person that you truly believe has the best intentions. And then my final tip is whether you do it on your phone or just old school pen and paper, keep a running list of acronyms that you run across in the political world, because there are so many acronyms that pop up in the political space. BPOU, CD, your congressional district. Many. I apologize. We just had a little distraction come downstairs. This running list lasted on my phone. I'm not joking. I honestly, I think I deleted it just a couple months ago. So it just helps because the acronyms are flying at you left and right, just like majority of every other industry. And if this isn't your full-time job, right? It's not. Just keep that list to give yourself a handy dandy cheat sheet so that you are sitting there, you're like, oh, I totally know what they're talking about. All right, next one. All right. I am a mom that I come from healthcare. I was a board certified health and wellness coach. I worked with insurance companies. I knew healthcare like some of the best of them. Politics, I knew nothing. And 2 years ago was when him and I were like, we need to shift. We need to dive in. We need to make some changes for our family. And let me tell you, if I can do it, somebody who literally at one point said, I don't vote. That's my dad's job. As an adult, I said that. Anyone can do this, because your commitment to your children's tomorrow needs to be the driving force behind you being a parent-powered politician of sorts. So that's my little motivational speech for all of you. Again, just throwing this up there. This is a little seminar that is obviously a timely one. We have caucus happening in just over a month. If this is something that you're like, oh, this was actually really helpful, my church group could benefit from this, or a parents group that I'm in, reach out to us. We would love to, put this out there for other people to get empowered and be prepared for the 27th, so they don't feel like, I can't go to that. I don't know what to do. And in addition, just plugging UPC one more time. If you have not checked out our website, please do so. Make sure you head over there, get some resources for yourself, for your other parent friends, or your grandkids. That way we are all setting ourselves and our kids up for the best possible future. So with that, if you have any questions, feel free. We're going to check the chat here. There we go. Perfect. We got a couple different people dropping in their locations, but if you have any questions, you can come off mute, or you can drop them in the chat. Other than that, we just want to thank those of you who popped in, shared your evening with us. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, whether it be through email or if you know Mike and I personally, reach out anytime. So thank you so much for all of the support, and we will see you at caucus. Any more questions? If you need to, you can drop those in. You are so welcome, everyone. Hopefully this was helpful. Agree, Jamie. Convention's well worth the money.
And fun.
Yeah, it was. It was an experience. We brought our daughter, our older one, and she sat. Somehow we got lucky. Our BPOU got sat front row at the big state convention, and it gave us a little room where she could sit right on the floor in front of me, and she got to take it in front and center. As what was she, 15?
Yeah.
15, drinking coffee. She felt really grown up. She had her Starbucks coffee and she was sitting front and center at convention.
I thought that was a great idea. I didn't even know that that was possible until you did that.
Yep. And we
didn't know either.
well, and I'll be transparent, I was working for a candidate at the time, so that made things a little bit easier in the aspect of I reached out before and was like, I'm gonna bring my kid. And they're like, oh, that's fine. Yeah, she can help us. Okay, perfect. But then after she helped said candidate, we were like, well, what do we do with you now? We can't bring you back to the Airbnb. Well, you're stuck with us.
She was great at convention. I'm
She was-
sorry I missed your show, Jenna. I just logged on like 5 minutes ago. One of these times I'll get the whole thing, but I'll tell you,
No
convention
worries.
was a blast.
It was
And
absolutely.
that party Scott Jensen threw. I've never been to a convention. I've been going to conventions since 2012. Never been to one where we had a street party and the neighbors were coming out and watching. That was brilliant. So
It was absolutely. I love it, Dave. Exactly. David Schnickels just put in there, I do this for my grandkids and their future. 100%. And that is exactly why my parents are now involved. You do it for your kids and it doesn't stop. You got to do it for your lineage. Oh, I see a question. So great question. So I would like to share this. So this was recorded, I believe. I will check with the recording. Feel free to email me and I can get you the recording and make sure that we can get this information out. So shoot me an email at that United Parenting Coalition at gmail.com and we can get the recordings out. And
Yeah, and especially to caucus, the 14 and 16-year-old, we brought I think she was 14 or 15 at that time.
she's 14.
14. And they actually sometimes need some additional help from people running and grabbing some of the ballots or different materials or delivering materials to some of the rooms where the precincts are. So they could possibly get involved if they really wanted to. Otherwise, yeah, they can come as observers.
Yeah, there were a lot of kids in our caucus room.
Yeah, there's babies in there.
Yeah, there was a baby.
And that's one thing, like, if it's something you really want to get involved, don't let the fact that you can't find a sitter or whatever the case may be, like, bring them with, get involved, and they're going to be welcome there.
Yep. I don't want to sugarcoat this too much. Will there be a person or two that's like, maybe?
There always is.
We've had that at points, but we don't care because you know what? This little one, her future is more important than your dirty look. And she's going to be here and we're going to do what we need to do. And we brought both girls to different things. In the older one, she volunteers, she helps out. And then the younger one, we usually bring entertainment of sorts, whether it be a game or headphones and a tablet. It's not my favorite for her, but you know what? Mom's fighting for your future. Dad's fighting for your future. Watch Con Kids or something while we do this, okay? Any other questions or comments? Again, you can pop off mute. Otherwise, you can drop it in the chat. Otherwise, you are free to get on with your evening as well. And again, just thanking all of you for popping in and sharing your night with us. That is a great question. So helping out at the polls. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can do it in the chat. I'm thinking you're thinking more of like poll watchers, things of that sort. If that is the case, if that's what you're thinking, when you go to caucus, they actually ask, hey, is anyone here interested in being a poll watcher? You can sign up and tell them I am, and they will give you the details of how an election judge. Yep, absolutely, Dave. So if you want to do that, they'll ask you a caucus, you say, I want to do that, you sign up, and then you'll get some emails on what to do. There is a training typically through your county that you have to go through, just like a regular job. And then you get paid and you get to go to whatever poll they assign you to. You head over there and get to do your civic duty.
And we need more Republicans to do it. So please sign up to do it. It's not hard. There's plenty of training. And then when you're there that day, the head judge just steps you through everything.
Yeah.
Works out easy.
Karen, while you're on here, and I knew the definition difference at one point, election judge versus poll watcher. Do you remember what the exact definition difference is?
Well, I don't know an actual definition, but I can tell you the election judges will sit at each of the different stations. You know, when you go in, you get a ballot or you know, pull your name and then you go get, you know, and someone hands you the voter thing. Okay, a poll watcher is somebody that just stands in the room and watches. And they can challenge, I think they can challenge, I'm not positive, but I think they can challenge when they see something. But you're there to make sure what's going on looks accurate. So you're basically just walking around the room and watching. And I think the GOP trains you on that. So I know the one year they had training on that, and I just want to make sure, is it poll watcher or what's the other one? Everyone gets that confused, and somebody always corrects which way it's supposed to be. Poll challenger or poll watcher?
Yeah.
So is poll watcher the right one?
I think it's watcher. Oh, I knew this better when we had people running for Secretary of State and they were talking about it all the time.
Yeah, but
I
the GOP had training on that so that the Republican people were very up to par with what they had to do. I've only been an election judge and I've never been in a polling place where there's been a poll watcher, but I know that you don't do any of the stations. You just mainly are there watching everybody that's doing it.
Yeah.
And seeing if you see anything out of line. And then I believe you can challenge it if you see it out of line. And the GOP, like I say, during their training, I think they had phone numbers you can call that night. So, because there'll be people at the GOP waiting for those calls of anything that's going on weird. So Jenny, you might want to see if they're training on that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can absolutely check. And I know both parties are already putting out all their information about how to, you know, if you want to sign up, what you have to do. Honestly, at caucus, they will make sure they tell you because they're all looking for these individuals who are willing to do that job, and they're up to the task. Because both parties desperately want that.
Yeah, but we have a very low rate of people that do it in our Republican Party, so we need to step up our game.
Amen.
And Mike, when you brought up the young people, I don't know if you guys know, but they passed a thing where the 16, whenever they get their driver's license, they're going to be signed up now to be voters. And
they can register.
Yeah, Nicole Mitchell over here, she had some kind of pizza party at Devani's where she had like, the reading club from the high school. And I think what they're doing is they're branding these people in so that they can politically talk to them. So we need to do the same. We need to reach out to, these 16-year-olds and stuff and start telling them to come to caucus, come, watch or help or whatever. But you guys with younger kids that have friends, that are that age, we need to do something. I mean, maybe we need a pizza party and we show them caucus stuff, like, hey, this is what you're going to look forward to, when you're older. And I mean, I don't know, but we have to reel them in because that's what they're doing already. They're always a step ahead of us and we have to get our game up.
And
So-
I agree. And I'm going to just keep it nonpartisan here because we are a nonprofit, but
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought you were just doing a training on, but I'm sorry.
no,
Sorry,
you're good.
sorry.
No, you're
Okay.
good.
I
And
apologize.
you know what? People who attend our stuff can talk their beliefs all they want. And we honor that
Okay.
no matter what.
All right. I don't mean to cause trouble.
I love people who speak
Hold
up
on.
and they know where they stand. Because clearly Mike and I do in our own, in our own circles.
Okay.
But yeah,
Sorry.
no, you're
Okay.
good. You're good.
All right. But anyway, but we do need election judges, poll watchers. It's very
Right.
important.
It is. It's part of our civic duty. We want to make sure that we're honoring that and we're protecting our votes, no matter what party you're in. Because now you got people all over the gamut, right? Both sides who have said so-and-so's cheating, they're cheating, that person cheated. Well, let's get as many people in there doing their civic duty to keep our votes valid and protected. And yes, there are junior election judges. When I was an election judge, that's a good comment. Thank you for dropping that in there. I got put with a girl that I think she was 16 at the time, little high school girl, and she's the cutest little thing and so helpful. And I literally looked at her and I said, this is awesome. Good for you. Not many other 16-year-olds would come here on election day and do this. And exactly, it's a program that I think all the counties offer. So again, any other comments, any other questions, you can drop them in there or come off mute. We appreciate all of you so much, and none from you. Thank you. Thank you for attending so much. Giving up a Thursday evening to learn about how can you do politics a little bit, right? So it doesn't just do you. That's a huge step forward that we all need to make sure that we at least know how. Thank you so much, Jamie, for popping in. All right. Again, just throwing it out there, United Parenting Coalition at gmail.com is our email. If you have any questions, you can reach out anytime. There's a chat with us feature right on our website, if that's easier, if you forget the email. But don't ever hesitate to reach out with questions, comments. If you have, hey, this might be a really great resource for you guys to look into for parents. We're always looking for those options. Otherwise, we just want to thank you so much for your time. And we'll give everyone just another minute in case there's another question coming in. Otherwise, I'll wrap this up at 8:08.
Give it another minute.
Right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. If you feel this would be helpful to anyone else, let us know. Email us if you would like the recording. I'll make sure that I get that all buffered and set up. Other than that, thank you for attending. And we look forward to seeing you at Caucus and at future United Parenting Coalition events.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye.